Welcome everyone to today's HLA Product Showcase webinar featuring CaptionMate. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Carla Beyer-Smolin. I am the National Chapter and Membership Coordinator for HLAA and your host today. Today's presentation is being recorded and will be available for playback at a later time on the HLA website at hearingloss.org. This is a disclaimer that HLA does not endorse the product being featured in this webinar. HLA is providing an educational opportunity to learn about this product and how it can benefit people with hearing loss. I need to give you some tech tips to get started. Captions can be enabled by clicking on the CC icon and click on Show Subtitle. And you can change the font size in subtitle settings. Chat is available for technical issues and panelists only. We would like participants to use the Q&A icon to ask questions. We will be using this to facilitate questions and answers after the presentation. If you've joined by computer, you should see the presentation side-by-side mode. Presentation should be on the left and gallery view of presenters are on the right. You can change the size of your view by hovering in between the two screens and clicking on the gray bar to adjust to your desired view. If you've joined by mobile device, you will have a different view. You may have to scroll your views to your desired one. Our presenter today is John Gray. He is the business manager for CaptionMate. John is involved with the company's product development, sales, and strategy. He has over 17 years of experience developing products for individuals with hearing loss. John also served as Director of Sales for Clarity Products, LLC, and Senior Product Manager for Plantronics, where he successfully brought one of the first IPCTS phones to market. John is joined by his associate, Beryl Bucher, who will help facilitate questions and answers at the end of the demonstration. I will stop screen share now, and John, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Great, thank you, Carla, I appreciate it. I'd like to start off by thanking HLAA for having this opportunity and having us here, and I'd like to thank everybody for joining and taking the time out of your day to be with us. It means a lot. So thanks for the intro. Once again, my name is John Gray, and I'm with CaptionMate. And today we are going to talk about next generation captioning. And it's called ASR only IPCTS. And that's a mouthful, but it stands for Automatic Speech Recognition Internet Protocol Caption Telephone Service. And that's what we're going to touch on today. And we're going to talk about the advantages and how it differs from other services that are currently available out there, and what the advantages are and how it differs, basically. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to jump right into it. First of all, who is CaptionMate? Who are we? I thought that would be a good start. We are part of a company called Clarity, and Clarity is the largest and most established manufacturer of amplified phones and signaling devices, and they have been around for 50 years, located in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Clarity supplies amplified phones to many government agencies, state equipment distribution programs, and many, many more. I'm sure a lot of you have or have had Clarity phones in the past, and just to let you know, that's who we are. So let's jump right in. What is IPCTS? Many of you probably already know, but Caption Telephone Service is a service that allows a person like you or me that has hearing loss to read what's being said on a phone call. And it's really important to note that when we said on a phone call, because that's what we focus on. Most of us think, when we think of caption telephones, we think of a landline phone that is sitting on the counter or maybe on our desk at work, this giant phone, and that can be a problem. And that's a problem because most of us now have these mobile phones. And we want the freedom to communicate where we are and whenever we want to. And being tied to a desk phone or a phone maybe in the kitchen or wherever it happens to be is very restrictive. And that's one of the reasons that CaptionMate was started. We were started and developed to give consumers like you and I the flexibility, but also to have the functional equivalence of a phone call, of a normal phone call. So what is ASR only, this next generation IPCTS captioning? Well, in a nutshell, what we do is we have taken the captioning assistant, the CA, transcriptionist, third-party operator, there's a lot of different names, but we've taken the human out of the equation. So you all know that on the captioning products that you're probably using, especially if you have one of those desk phones, there is another person on your call. There's a captioning assistant or a third-party operator processing your call and helping those captions get to the device. We figured out that you can remove the human from the equation, and by doing that, you get much faster speeds. You cut down on any delay, so the captions get to the consumer, get to you faster, and it allows you to have total privacy and functional equivalence for the first time on a captioned telephone call. And that is really, really important. So what advantages do we have over other products and services that are out there? Well, there's quite a few. And we do understand that there's a lot of other captioning devices out there. Our position is this: everyone's hearing loss is individual and it's different. Mine is different than yours. And so we do encourage everybody, try the different products and services that are out there and find the one that works best for you. All these manufacturers have different technology, they have different customer service, they have different ways of doing things. And you as the consumer should definitely have the choice to pick which service works best for you. CaptionMate, being an ASR only platform, is optimized for mobile devices. It does work on other devices as well, which we'll touch on in a moment, but it was initially developed on a mobile device, but it also works on landline phones, computers, tablets, all these different platforms, which is a huge, huge benefit. So right out of the gate, one of the advantages CaptionMate has is we work on all platforms. Not only when we talk about iOS or Apple and Android, we work on both of those platforms, but as I mentioned, we also work on computers. So whichever browser you're running, you could be, like I am right now, watching the captions from CaptionMate at the same time that I'm taking the Zoom call. You don't need any special equipment to do that. I happen to be talking on my cell phone and reading the captions on my laptop. But I could have just as easily picked up my desk phone and been talking on that. You don't need any special hardware to receive captions. One of the other things that we can do is we can do what's called simulcasting, or simultaneously broadcasting captions on different devices. So for example, I happen to be reading the captions on my desktop, but at the same time, I'm also watching them on my cell phone. The same conversation is being shown on a different cell phone. I'm talking on this phone and watching on this phone. It could be a tablet, it could be a computer screen. We can broadcast captions onto any internet-connected screen, and that's a huge benefit for people. As I mentioned, total privacy. That is a huge deal. I personally prefer having a private phone call between who I'm calling, just me and that other person. I don't like having a CA or a third-party operator, even a transcriptionist on the call. I prefer the privacy. For example, sometimes I have to call a family member or a loved one and say something private and maybe I love you, and that's kind of awkward having somebody else on the call, but could you also imagine having to call the bank and giving out the last four of your social security number, knowing there's somebody else on the call? That's a little awkward. So with CaptionMate, we've removed the human from the equation, giving you total privacy for the first time, and that's a huge deal. We By doing that, it also allows us to have increased speeds. So as you know, if you've used captioning before, there's usually a delay, and that delay is because there's a lot of people. There's that third-party operator in the conversation. They have to listen to what's being said, re-voice it to a computer, then the computer has to take that and send it back to your phone. We've done away with that. So it allows us to get you captionings in real time, very fast. We offer captions in over 100 languages. So if English is not your first language or the language you prefer to speak in, you can get captioning in whatever language you choose, because we don't have to worry about having an operator that speaks that language sitting in a call center. The computers already know every language in the world, and it allows us to provide you true functional equivalence. Another thing that we do, which is much different, is we allow you, the consumer, to see both sides of the conversation. Most captioning services only allow you to see what the other person is saying. CaptionMate allows you the flexibility to push a button while you're on a call and see what you're saying as well. And that's really neat because some people do want to see what they're saying, but on top of that, when the call is over and you go back to review the transcription, if you have to review a transcript and you can only read what the other person is saying, it's very difficult to sometimes understand what was happening during the conversation. But with CaptionMate, being able to read both sides of the conversation, you get what I like to call the whole conversation, because you can read the whole thing and understand it. We're a viable workplace solution for those of you who are still working. A lot of us are working from home now, but if you work from home or you're in the office, there's no special equipment needed. You simply need a phone to talk on and a screen to view the captions on. You don't have to worry about an analog phone jack or anything special, which is really nice. And we have another great feature that a lot of people have been using, which is being able to share the transcriptions. While you're on a call, I could be, for instance, talking to Carla on my phone, and if I choose to, I can share the conversation with her through a link. She can open it and she can be seeing the same conversation I am to ensure accuracy. So she's giving me directions to maybe the restaurant and she says, turn left on Main Street. We can both see the conversation at the same time and be reading it and say, oh, no, I said left. And that helps ensure accuracy during calls, giving you the ability to let the other person see it if you so choose. We don't have a ton of time today. So what we're going to do is show a quick demonstration, and we'll save plenty of time for questions and answers, and we'll go from there. So being an app, CaptionMate can be downloaded from the App Store or the Play Store, depending on the platform of your choice. You can also go to our website at captionmate.com and register there. There is certain information that the FCC requires, such as the last 4 of your Social Security number, your birth date, and other information that they want to capture. And it ensures that you're a real person and stops any fraud and abuse. So you download the app, you register online, and then you can start making calls. We do always want to hear from you. One of the things we definitely pride ourselves in, besides the speed and the functional equivalence, is the fact that we value and love customer feedback. We want to hear from you. We want to hear the good. We want to hear if you have trouble. We want to hear from you regardless. So that's how we become a better service. If you have something that you want to see added to the service, let us know, talk to us. And in fact, if you download the app and you launch it and you happen to have a trouble making your first call, maybe you get a busy signal, or maybe you're not sure what to do, give us a call. You can call us or email us at support@captionmate.com, or you can contact us at 800-898-0034 and just let us know how we can help. We've had a lot of questions about where's the user manual for CaptionMate. And like most apps, like Facebook or Snapchat, there is no printed user manual. Most apps do not have a user manual. But what we do have is we have a YouTube channel. So you can go to YouTube and type in CaptionMate, and you can go to our channel, and you can watch all the how-to videos, step-by-step how-to videos, and they are captioned. on how to do different things like make your first call and change languages or maybe font size and colors. And you can do all of those things. If you like, we also have the ability to do one-on-one sessions. We have started doing general Q&A one-on-one Zoom sessions. So if you go to our website, everyone's invited. You can go to our website and then click on the Learn More tab, and you'll see a calendar of events. And those calendars are open Zoom sessions. And you can click on the link and join the session. You don't need to be invited. You can just join the session, and you can get one-on-one support in real time, or you can just talk about CaptionMate. You can ask for help. You can ask questions, whatever you want to do. And we would highly encourage you to do that. We'd love to hear from you there. So as I mentioned, we have captioning running on several different products. I have it running on my desktop and I have it running on my phone. And what I'd like to do is let me see if I can refresh the screen and start the conversation. Well, it looks like I have a little bit of a technical issue, which is fine. Here we go. Bear with me. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to share my screen with you. And hopefully you can see my screen. And what you're going to notice is that I'm talking on my cell phone. I'm just talking into the mouthpiece because that's the only part I really need. And what I'm reading is the captions on CaptionMate. I'm logged into my CaptionMate account on the web, and I have it on one side of my screen, and I have the webinar on the other side of my screen. So I have two windows side by side open. So I see the webinar and I see the captions in real time, and you can obviously see how fast they are and accurate they are. And that's how I do captioning on my computer. And I use it for Zoom, work calls all the time, and it works great. And this is how we love to use it this way. So captioning on your computer with CaptionMate is a great thing, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to the camera and let you see that I have it on a cell phone as well, the same conversation. And what's happening is I'm able to simulcast or show you captions happening on multiple screens at the same time. And that's really important because for me, I can be talking on my phone and once again reading it on a tablet or some other device, which is huge. So that's a very quick demonstration to kind of show you how it works. We have about 10 minutes left, so I want to leave plenty of times for Q&A. I want to bring Beryl in and see if we can see what kind of great questions you've been leaving. I've seen a lot popping up on my screen as I've been talking. So what are our first questions? Oh, I will say this. Let me jump in one more thing, Beryl. If we don't have time to answer all of the questions, everything will be, all the questions will be answered and submitted to HLAA or distributed, I think it is. So we will get to all of the questions at some point. We just might not get to them on this exact webinar.
So I'm
Beryl, what's the first question?
I'm going to bounce around a little bit, but we have quite a few questions. I'm going to start with one, which is what is the cost for CaptionMate and can I buy a subscription?
That is a great question. What is the cost for CaptionMate and can I buy a subscription? Great question. Actually, there is no cost. It's free for you to download, it's free for you to install, and it's free for you as a consumer to use. CaptionMate is paid for by a fund administered by the FCC. So all of our taxes are used to pay into the TRS fund, and that money goes to pay for Internet Protocol Caption telephone service providers such as CaptionMate. So it won't cost you anything. That's the good news. And the second part of it was a subscription. No subscription is needed. You just need to download the app or go to the website and click on new user and register online and start using the service. There's no actual subscription, so to speak. There's no hidden fees, there's no payments, there's no nothing. That's the beauty of it.
John, quite a few people asked about whether there are accuracy comparisons between CaptionMate and human transcriptionists or human captioning assistants.
That's a great question. And let me say this. I've been in this industry for over 17 years, and I remember when the very first caption telephones were rolled out. And ever since then, obviously being in different parts of the industry, I've always been involved in captioning in some way, either as a consumer or working like this as I am for CaptionMate. And the two biggest things that are always discussed when you surround captioning are speed and accuracy. Those are the two things that people are concerned about. And obviously the speed, you can see from the demo, the speed is very fast. It's in near real time. The accuracy, it's a very interesting question. Before we received FCC certification, the FCC did independent testing on CaptionMate. They used an independent testing lab called MITRE, and they tested CaptionMate against the other speech engines that are out there and the other incumbent or IPCTS providers. And what they found is that CaptionMate is as good as, or if not better than, a human CA captionist. So if a human can understand it, our service can understand it. It is important to know that nothing, computer or human, nothing is 100% accurate 100% of the time. You just have to know that. Humans make mistakes as well. So as far as speed and accuracy goes, we are very proud of CaptionMate and believe that you'll enjoy it as well.
Okay, great. We have quite a few questions about how to use CaptionMate with conference calls, particularly Zoom meetings, and whether you need a dial-in number or not.
Great question. So what I showed you before when I showed you my computer is how I do it, and that's how I'm doing it right now. So what I did was, when this invitation was sent to me by HLAA, they did provide me a dial-in number. And so I clicked on the link and I opened the webinar, the video part on my screen. And then I used my cell phone that I'm talking to you on right now. I used my cell phone and I dialed into the meeting using my cell phone. So, and I have the website, the CaptionMate website open at the same time. So I'm dialing in using CaptionMate and using the computer to watch the video at the same time. And that's how I do it. And I put the two windows side by side on my computer so I can see the captioning and I can see the video. And that's the best way. So yes, to dial in is the way to do it. And don't forget, we talked earlier, it's IPCTS, it's Internet Protocol Caption Telephone Service. So you do need to be dialing in through the phone to get the captions on your computer screen.
We have several questions around registration. We have some people registering as we speak, and they're questioning the need we asked for the last 4 of your social and for your birth date. And we also have people wondering whether we need proof of hearing loss.
Great questions. As I mentioned before, we are highly regulated by the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, and they do require providers to ask for or obtain certain information. And pardon me, the first piece of information is the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. The second information that they're going to ask for is your birth date as well as your mailing address. That is the FCC requiring that, not necessarily us. They want to ensure that there's no fraud and abuse. They want to ensure that you're a real person, and those are the rules. I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question, Beryl?
Do you need to have proof of hearing loss?
Great question. What kind of proof of hearing loss? Currently, the FCC standard is what they call self-certification. And that means that you, as an individual, have to self-certify that you have hearing loss. Currently, the FCC does not demand an audiogram or anything from the doctor. It's self-certification. There's no way to tell that your 10% hearing loss is better or worse than my 20% hearing loss. So during registration, there is a self-certification form that will pop up on the screen, and you can read it, and it will talk about, under perjury, I hereby sign at the bottom saying that I do indeed have hearing loss and have the need to use this service. And by typing in your name, that's a digital electronic signature, and the FCC takes that as self-certification.
Excellent. We have quite a few people concerned about the transcriptions in several ways. They want to know where we keep these transcriptions, and they also want to know whether the speech engine keeps the transcriptions and uses it to learn.
Great questions. Number one, we do not keep the transcriptions at all or anywhere. And during the FCC certification process, that was something that we spent a lot of time with the FCC on and had to prove to them that we do not. The only place the transcription is ever stored is on your device, the device that either makes or receives the call, the consumer. You have the transcription on your device. We don't have it. We never keep it. We don't want it. Or do we have access to it? None. As far as the speech engine goes and the learning, the speech engine does not keep your transcription. It can learn, but it's done in a way outside of CaptionMate. So learning takes place outside of the app, is the best way to describe it. So over time, Beryl, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that the CaptionMate user audio and transcriptions are not used for improving the speech engine. There's a surcharge that CaptionMate has or pays in order to ensure that none of your audio or transcriptions would ever be held by the speech engine. So it depends on other avenues outside of CaptionMate. Sorry.
There we go. No, perfect.
On a similar note, and I'll take this question, the question is whether we use end-to-end transcription, and we certainly do. Your data and your audio is encrypted both in transit as well as at rest. Back to conference calls, John, people want to know whether we can identify multiple speakers in a conversation or identify male versus female people in a conversation.
Great question. Great question, and the short answer is no. We're a telephone call. We're making a telephone call, and we just happen to be seeing the transcriptions on the computer screen. So during a conference call with many people on it, we're not, for instance, capturing. If you just dialed into Zoom and did not call in, it would probably be possible to identify each individual person on that computer call because the computer sees all the other computers. But on a telephone call, it's not the same. So if everybody is dialed in or even talking on their computer, we have no way to know who each person is. So the short answer is no, we don't. We can't identify each person in the transcript, and we can't identify if they're male or female. What we do ask, the easy way to do it is, if you just have a little bit of conference call etiquette and announce who it is before you speak, then the person reading the captions would know. You say, hi, this is John, and then you say what you have to say, or hi, this is Beryl, and then you say what you have to say, and then the person reading the captions would know who's speaking, and obviously during the transcript you would see who it is.
Okay, John, I think Lisa might like to pipe in for a minute. Lisa, do you want to join us to make a comment?
Hi all. Thank you for this presentation. I just noticed there were a number of people who are asking about using this to have face-to-face conversations or situations where they weren't using it as an actual phone. They were using it in some way that they were in the same room as a person. And I think you need to clarify that this is like other caption phone services. It's not meant to be used for face-to-face under the rules of the FCC.
This is true. Lisa's, that's true. Good comment. Great questions. This service, like other captioning services that are available, is meant to be used to make phone calls like we're doing right now. It doesn't mean that I'm standing here and someone's standing right next to me and they call me because they want to see the transcriptions. That's not what the service is meant to be used for. So it is meant to make phone calls for telecommunication access. So just to be clear.
Thank you.
I think we have time for
It's not meant for, I'm sorry?
I think we have time for one more question.
Quite a few people have
Okay.
asked about whether or not you receive a new telephone number and what that's about. And by the way, for anyone signing up now, some people are asking for a referral code. You can leave that blank. You don't have to enter the referral code. But John, if you could address the new number question, that would be wonderful.
Great question. Yes, we do need to assign you a new CaptionMate number during registration, and sometimes that's done automatically depending on where you live in the country. Sometimes it's not. We need to do it manually, but we will. As you register, you are assigned a new telephone number. That new CaptionMate telephone number rides alongside your normal cell phone number and helps deliver the captions. You never lose your normal cell phone number, ever. You still have it. You never lose it. It still functions. The way it works now is if you want to make a phone call, you just dial and the phone will know what to do. But if you want to receive a CaptionMate phone call, somebody is going to need to call your new CaptionMate number. Now, I know we've had a lot of feedback saying that people, they don't want to give out a new number, and that's fine. We are working on call forwarding, so you won't have to. People will be able to call your normal cell phone number and you can use CaptionMate. That feature is going to be rolled out very soon. We're in the final stages of it right now. But for the moment, we will have to assign you a new number. And if somebody was to call you, they would have to call your CaptionMate number for you to get captions. Okay. Was there a second part of that?
Yeah, there wasn't. Thank you, John.
Okay.
All right, I think I'm going to have to wrap things up. We have so many questions being prompted right now. We have 132 questions for you guys. So I'm sorry we're not going to be able to address
That's great.
today, but we will be addressing these in a follow-up post presentation for the website later on. The recording will be saved to the website at hearingloss.org at a later time, and we will include the questions for this session as well. And we thank our panelists for demonstrating CaptionMate today. Thank you for coming. And we thank Jeanette Christian for her amazing cart services today. We thank you for joining today, and please check hearingloss.org for future webinars and for webinar recordings. Thank you, and stay safe and be well, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.